It is a sunny, bright day in Miami. Fans coming in. Roof is closed. Rolling windows closed. It's also hot and humid. D. Gordon just keeps on hitting another hit yesterday, but the Marlins fell to the Atlanta Braves. The Fish have not beaten the Braves in this ballpark this year. And yes, Henderson Alvarez returns for the Fish. Hi, everybody. Rich Walt along with Tommy Hutton. For the Marlins, solving the Atlanta Braves is a real issue right now. Braves are 5-0 in this ballpark.
Yeah, this Braves team has played the Marlins pretty well since 2012. They're 24-9 against the Marlins in this ballpark. So got to do a few changes, maybe try something, maybe get on Shelby Miller today.
For the Marlins in this series, one of the highlights obviously has been the Giancarlo Stanton show. We figured we'd go back a few days and show you some of the distances, some of the places he's visited.
You know, if you've missed a little bit of the Giancarlo Stanton show, you've missed some power. He took one, became just the fourth player to hit one completely out of Dodger Stadium the other night. Would have loved to have heard Vin Scully describe that. How about against the Atlanta Braves? He's hit one against Alex Wood, 475 feet. He hit one against Cody Martin, 474 feet. And how about this? Just a note, the pitcher today, Shelby Miller, last year, Giancarlo hit one 470 against Shelby Miller. Giancarlo Stanton has hit the 4 longest home runs at Marlins Park in its history.
And, of course, this was yesterday, and the great catch by the fan from Palm Beach. Listed at 475, and just about everybody feels that that was being modest, that distance was a little more than that. All right, as you look out there in center field, pretty darn impressive. Henderson Alvarez returns. What does he bring with him?
You know, what he brings is the entertaining quality. We know that. He'll bring his fastball, his power changeup. He had one rehab start. He's not pitched well in his career against Atlanta, just 1-3, but he pitched a really good game opening day against the Braves. Took the loss 2-1, but went 7 innings and gave up just 2 runs. You'll see the fastball, you'll see the power sinker. That's what he brings. He'll probably throw 90 to 100 pitches.
And maybe throw that eephus pitch. It's one of the reasons he's called the entertainer. Shelby Miller has been dynamite for the Atlanta Braves this year.
He really has. You see his career against the Marlins, but if you go back to last year when Shelby Miller was a Cardinal, his last 15 starts, he's gone 6-1 with an ERA under 2.
Giancarlo Stanton is rewriting distances in a variety of ballparks, not just Marlins Park. We'll readjust the tape when we return. Out to center field, where now we know it's not safe out there.
We thought we were, Rich. At one point, we thought we were safe.
Batting practice.
Mike Morris hit one off of here the other day in batting practice, and the way Giancarlo's been hitting them, we are not safe.
And this isn't the strongest plexiglass. It's not like the NHL here, so we got to watch out. But everybody's talking numbers here. Obviously, everybody's asking Stanton about it, and around the batting cage, Andre Dawson I was talking with today. Let's look at it again. We're about even with the 502 mark in our seat right here, and we think it would have been way by where we are if there was no concourse, which is the projection when they make these distances.
Yeah, he stands up and catches it one hand, and we're looking at basically where he caught it, and it hits the concourse pretty much guaranteed. And I don't know, I think 474 is a little light.
You see the 502 just on the right there, right? And we're about level with that if you drew a line somewhere. So that ball's going past us 10, 15 feet. Now, I usually agree with these guys because they're pretty good at what they do. They had 474. That one you thought was a little
I thought that was
heavy.
a little heavy on the one that went into the camera well just below us, 474, and that one's 25 feet higher, and that kind of arc, I think, a little light on
now,
that.
Now, having said all this, isn't it fun to talk about home runs that are 500 feet in a major league game?
Giancarlo Stanton is going to own the record at a lot of different parks for the longest balls hit ever when it's all said and done.
And it makes it fun because we watched this game, and they said a long time ago the chicks love the long ball, and when you hit them like Giancarlo, everybody gets into the distance. How far did it go? It's a good conversation piece, if nothing else. Still the same on the scoreboard. All right, series finale time. Henderson Alvarez back at it against the Braves next.
Jam Lexus brings you Atlanta's batting order. Big grand slam from Jace Peterson yesterday. Phil Goslin is hot. Freddie Freeman always seems to be. Nick Markakis is in right. Todd Cunningham, look at the series that he's had. A.J. Brzezinski a hit and a start yesterday. He's back in there. Pedro Siriaco is giving Andrelton Simmons the day off. And Cameron Maybin is in the 8th spot. Henderson Alvarez, the trademark windup. And first pitch, it's a strike. With Jace Peterson. It's nice to have Alvarez back. Pinch a penny brings you that first pitch. Phil Goslin, Freddie Freeman to follow. Alvarez back to the plate. And a good two-seamer that sinks down in. And Peterson missed it. It's 0-2.
Good to see the trademark wind up on the first pitch. Good to see some good velocity from Henderson Alvarez.
You see, April 12th, that's the last start. That one smacked into center. Ozuna runs it down. So there's an out here in the first. Marlins defensively, Fish have had a terrific year with the glove.
And we'll check out the defense with Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton. Christian Yelich back in the lineup today. Prado Echeverria on the left side. There he is, D. Gordon at second base. Michael Morris over at first. And Jonathan Solano does the catching today.
Here's Phil Goslin. The Braves are banged up. Couple regulars out on the DL, the Johnsons, so to speak. Kelly Johnson, Chris Johnson. But guys like Phil Goslin have filled in, Todd Cunningham. And they certainly have contributed to the first 2 games of this series in which the Braves have won. Prado collects it, fires across. There are 2 outs.
There are some pitchers, Rich, when they come back from an injury and from a rehab assignment, you're really concerned about pitch count. But the way Henderson Alvarez works is that he gets ground balls. He's not going to be a strikeout guy and build up the pitches. So you would expect if he's on his game, he'll do what he did against the Braves opening day and give you 7 innings.
His last rehab start, he threw 76 pitches, and that wasn't because he pitched 3 or 4 innings, because he was so economical and so efficient in that start. And he counts 2-0 to Freddie Freeman. One thing about Alvarez, he's not pitched well, believe it or not, against the Braves. 7 starts and an ERA of over 5 and a record of just 1-3.
That's why that outing opening day was impressive. Is one of the best games he's ever pitched against the Atlanta Braves. Went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, didn't walk anybody.
In the air to center, Ozuna tracking, and he makes the catch. A 9-pitch inning. The entertainer is back, and the Marlins get a look at Shelby Miller when we return. Such a smooth operator as Henderson Alvarez, a 9-pitch first inning. Calm, cool, collected, and hopeful that the Marlins will get him some runs. Jam Lexus brings you Miami's lineup. D. Gordon leading the league and he's leading everything in hitting at .425. Martin Prado, Giancarlo Stanton, 3 for 9 against Shelby Miller, including a long home run. Marcell Ozuna, Christian Yelich, Michael Morse, A.D. Echeverria, Jonathan Solano in the 8th spot, and Alvarez hits 9th. This is Shelby Miller, and that is a fastball for a strike, and he is having a terrific year right now.
Boy, he really is. You look at the numbers. The ERA leading the league at 160. The 4-1 record. One of the reasons his walks are down. Last year with St. Louis, 73 walks. He was 6th in the National League in that department. He's been able to keep those down this year.
D. Gordon. The numbers just jump right off the page, don't they? At .425. He's got 4 hits in this series. Shortens the bunt, takes a fastball in, got the bat back in time.
Interesting with 2 strikes. He saw the third baseman, Phil Dawson, really move back. And even with 2 strikes, I think D. Gordon, had he seen a pitch in the strike zone, he was going to try to drop it down.
Fouls that pitch off. Gordon drove in a couple of runs yesterday and had a hit. 425 leads all of baseball. I would expect if you go to any league, Cuba, Japan, I don't think you're going to find a guy hitting 425 right now. In fact, I know you won't in Cuba because they play their season during the winter.
You know what? Even in the Mexican League, where Alfredo Mexican plays.
1-2, Miami's second baseman. Miller, the 24-year-old out of Brownwood, Texas. Little jam shot, and Gordon pops it up. Siriaco takes it, and that's one notable change in Atlanta's defense is Pedro Siriaco at short.
Well, no change in left. Todd Cunningham's had a big series. Cameron Maben in center, Markakis in right. Anderson Simmons just getting a day off, so we were told by Freddie Gonzalez. So Siriaco's at shortstop. Jace Peterson, you mentioned the big grand slam yesterday. Freddie Freeman and A.J. Pierzynski gets back-to-back starts.
Been an impressive start out in left field for Todd Cunningham, both defensively and offensively. Prado rolls it out to second. Well, Henderson Alvarez throws a really good two-seamer. So does Shelby Miller.
Yeah, he does. You would expect Miller might pile up a few more strikeouts, but you would expect these two pitchers to pile up a lot of ground ball outs in this game.
And here is Stanton now. This is almost appointment television. When Stanton is up, you don't want to miss the at-bat. Last 4 games, 4 home runs, 7 RBI. Yesterday, not only did he hit the ball up into the second deck behind the batter's eye, he also hit a ball to the base of the wall, which Cameron Maben caught in straightaway center. The 1-0 pitch. Stanton swings and misses, and a two-seamer that dipped down low.
The 4th longest home run that Stanton has hit in this ballpark, he hit off Shelby Miller last year.
Stanton hits a mammoth pop-up that almost reaches the girders above, avoids Freeman, who makes the catch in foul territory. Shelby Miller matches Henderson Alvarez with a 1-2-3 first.
Back on Tuesday night, I was up in Jupiter, watched him pitch against the Lakeland Flying Tigers. Couple of things I noticed. First of all, very long warm-ups with Wayne Rosenthal. I asked him right after his warm-up session before he went into the game. It was 15 or 20 minutes. That was 53 pitches right there. Then he threw 69 more pitches and very efficient. 4 soft singles, no walks. He did have the strikeouts. but most importantly, Mike Berger, assistant GM, said it's the easy throws with. That's what impressed you. The velocity good at 92 to 93, but he worked out of jams in and out, and that's what Berger was impressed with. So impressed, the Marlins felt only one rehab start was needed. Maybe for somebody else, Rich and Tommy, they'd have more. Not for Alvarez. He's back and ready to go.
And boy, the Marlins could use him in that rotation for the rest of the year. Markakis slams one over the head of D. Gordon into right center. Marcell Ozuna picks it up. And Nick Markakis has got a base hit. First hit of the ball game for either side. That leads off the seconds. And Alvarez returns to the rotation in a very opportune time. If you follow the Marlins, you know that Tom Kohler was moved into the bullpen to make room for Alvarez for this start. Yesterday, Matt Latos went down after a line drive hit him in the ankle, and it's badly bruised, the ankle. And so I would think in the next few days the Marlins will determine whether Latos can make his next start. If he can't, you've got Kohler who could slide into that spot, and he's almost right on turn.
Yeah, and to Tom Kohler's credit, in the ball game yesterday, 3 shutout innings. Gave up just a couple of hits. So he went there. He wants to be a starter, but he went to the bullpen and came on when Latos was injured and threw 3 real good innings.
Marlins also got 2 scoreless innings out of Steve Cishek yesterday, and that certainly is a good sign. This guy just keeps hitting. Todd Cunningham, 3 hits in both games, his first 2 starts in the big leagues. He's a guy that a couple years ago got up with the Braves in a reserve role. He had a couple of hits, but he gets a start on Friday night and he responds by going 3 for 4, and then he has 3 more hits in yesterday's win. For Freddie Gonzalez, we talked about the injuries to both Chris Johnson and Kelly Johnson. Cunningham getting a chance, certainly in the absence of Kelly Johnson in the outfield.
Well, he was hitting .286 in AAA, but Freddie Gonzalez remembers he had a very good spring. And you shine in spring training, opens up eyes, and so you have some injuries and you get called up. So he's making the most of it.
One, 2 to Cunningham. Sprayed a couple balls wide of Bo Porter, the third base coach. Jonathan Solano on his way out to talk to Alvarez.
I think the previous 2 starts that we've seen Jonathan Solano, the thing that always impresses you is that you don't notice him back there because he does such a fine job defensively.
Hit hard and into center field. My goodness. Todd Cunningham is 7 for 9 in this series. Diamondbacks are in town tomorrow. All you can eat seats. Get you Cam, beef frank, peanuts, popcorn, nachos, Pepsis, and Aquafina water. Just $30. It's all you can eat and drink. Plus, all first responders with an ID get a complimentary ticket on South Florida Heroes Monday, presented by Outback. Marlins.com for details. Here is A.J. Pierzynski. You notice on that promo for tomorrow night's game, the backdrop was Dan Herron, and it is Herron who starts for Miami tomorrow night. Ruby De La Rosa, a right-hander, will go for the Diamondbacks.
So Dan Herron going against one of his former teams. Last time he pitched against the Dodgers, one of his former teams.
Pierzynski sneaks one down the left field line. That's a base hit. Markakis around third. Cunningham races into third as well. Markakis scores, and A.J. Pierzynski, who is having a really nice year, drives in the first run of the ball game.
I'm sure the Braves didn't draw it up this way in the spring or in the offseason, signing the veteran A.J. Pierzynski, but he's actually caught more games this year. He's started more games than Christian Bethancourt, their highly touted young catcher. Pierzynski hitting .450 with runners in scoring position this year.
Here's Pedro Ciriaco. Both the Marlins and the Braves on their road trips, and the Braves are at the end of theirs. The Marlins ended in Los Angeles. Both teams felt that they should have won more games along the way. The Marlins blew 3 leads in that tour. Center field, Ozuna back. It's well hit, and Pierzynski will tag at second. He's going to get to third. Scoring easily is Cunningham, and the Braves are out in front 2-0. Well, it feels like the Braves are taking those frustrations out on Miami here in this series. The Braves winners on Friday night by a score of 5-3, and another 5-3 win last night.
And it seems like when the Braves have opportunities, they capitalize. On the other side of the coin, the Marlins in this series just 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position.
Infield creeps in. Cameron Maybin is up. And Alvarez goes from the stretch.
So Ciriaco accomplished a couple of things with that deep fly ball. He got the run in from third, but it was deep enough to allow Pierzynski to go from second to third.
Andrelton Simmons getting the day off. Ciriaco getting the start. And Alvarez misses in. Maybin hit the ball that hit Latos in the ankle and sent Matt Latos with some help off the field into the clubhouse. No fractures after the MRI, but certainly doesn't feel real well. Here's a fastball that misses in. First base is open. You've got the pitcher on deck, Shelby Miller, but still Alvarez getting knocked around a bit here in the second. Maybin takes a rip and fouls it off. 4 hits for Maybin in the series. Cameron had 3 of those in yesterday's win. Braves have had 13 hits in each game, and they already have 3 here in this second inning. It's in. Maybin walks.
Yeah, the odd part of that, Rich, the Marlins have had double figures in hits in each of the games in this series. They had 12 on Friday night. They had 10 in the ball game yesterday, but not clutch hits.
So here's Miller, and I would expect in both managers' minds there's wheels turning. For Mike Redmond, it's how can we get a ground ball and get out of this inning. For Freddie Gonzalez, it might be let's bunt on first and third, and indeed with the throw to first, Miller squares around.
Yeah, and that's number one, why you throw over to first, to see if the Braves tip their hand. Number two, it would not be a squeeze. It would be a bunt and a sacrifice situation to get Maybin to second.
But as we've seen in the game, and as Joe Madden made popular in St. Pete with the Rays, that first and third bunt oftentimes will produce the run from third. You got Maybin at first with very good speed.
So you got to figure Joe Madden and the Cubs may be trying that as well.
Maybin is leaning, not running, and the bunt is foul. He might, but with the lineup the Cubs have right now, there's guys hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He can wait around for the. He's got a much deeper and much more talented roster, wouldn't you say?
Well,
now?
yeah, he got Soler and Rizzo, and Bryant's gotten hot with a long ball, and Starlin Castro, and it's a different ballpark too.
Yes, it is. Chris Coughlin having a nice start as well. We'll see the Cubs in here in early June to face the Marlins.
Cubs have won 6 in a row.
Some hot teams in baseball right now. Miller squares. Runner goes. Big jump by Maben. The throw by Solano not nearly in time. And with Morse kind of inching towards the plate, Maben got a little bigger lead and an outstanding jump. And the Braves wipe out the possibility of a double play.
Well, he just got an unbelievable jump. As soon as Henderson Alvarez lifted his leg, he was slow to the plate. And you saw Maben didn't even have to slide.
Alvarez with a breaking ball, and it wipes out Shelby Miller. That's the second out. And now here's Jace Peterson. Peterson lined out in the first. Similar spot, albeit there's nobody at first. In yesterday's ball game that brought Peterson to the plate with the bags loaded. A strikeout of Alex Wood kind of cleared the deck for Peterson, who then cleared the bases. It's a nice piece of work by our buddy Cliff Floyd on that sequence in yesterday's ball game.
Yeah, good to see Cliff. Nice job on the game yesterday.
Peterson hooks a ground ball into right field. Pierzynski scores. Maben right behind him. Stanton throws offline. The Braves have two more. Into second is Peterson. And Atlanta has jumped right on the Marlins and has a 4-0 lead.
Now, just looking back, too, Jace Peterson not doing it solely against the Marlins. Last 17 games, he's hit around .350. Hits that ball well and then finds that hole just out of the reach of D. Gordon. Cameron Maben with really good speed. He's able to score from second base on this.
And that's the other payoff for having Maben steal the bag. Not only did it eliminate a possible double play with Miller at the plate, but it put Peterson in a position to drive in 2 runs. And he did. And Alvarez a tumbling breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1.
But when you're really struggling to put together some big innings, get some big hits, it's tough to get in the hole early. It also eliminates some things you can do.
Alvarez drops the baseball, picks it up, fires to first. Everybody is safe.
Well, I think he thought he had it. He initially had it in the glove and started, it looked like, to take his time to make the throw. He knows he has it, but it comes out of the glove, and now he realizes he doesn't have it. So right now, nothing going right for Henderson Alvarez.
And it's going to be a base hit for Phil Gosselin. Chuck Hernandez is out there right now, and for the Marlins, there's got to be some concern that if Alvarez continues to get knocked around. They used Tom Kohler in the long roll yesterday. Kohler went, as Tommy pointed out, 3 innings.
I would guess he would not be used today.
Oh, and there's no way. And you would look then to a guy like Brad Hand.
To make room for Henderson Alvarez, Nick Massett was designated for assignment.
Here's Freddie Freeman now. Braves at the corners. And Solano has to dive out to capture that one. 1-0. 4 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta. Terry Pendleton. I like that. He doesn't have a glove, so he takes the batting glove and puts that over his mouth. I've not seen that before.
Now you see it with catchers and pitchers, put
right.
the glove over.
Not a first base coach.
I've seen a first base coach do that.
Well,
what's the game gone to?
A lot of first. It was Davey Lopes had an interesting thing the other day, saying, you know what? When I go up to tell my base stealer something at first base, oftentimes the first baseman is there, and he'll hear exactly what I'm telling him.
I can attest to that. Heard a lot of first base coach tell runners stuff. You know, sometimes you wonder if they're telling him the truth, but it's a great way to decoy.
The 2-1. Freeman hooks one into right field. That's a base hit. And the Braves continue here in the second. They have built a 5-0 lead now. And have batted around here in the second inning. Henderson Alvarez has expended 38 pitches already. He's thrown 29 this inning. And as we expected, Chuck Hernandez on the phone to the bullpen. Nick Markakis.
Nick Markakis started this inning with a single.
In the air, left field. Yelich under it, and he makes the catch. But the Braves make a statement in the second. 5 runs and a 5-0 lead. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. Atlanta with 5 runs in the top of the second. Backing up their best starter this year, Shelby Miller, to work against Marcell Ozuna. And a fastball misses up. Henderson Alvarez, it has been a rough ride so far. 40 pitches, 2 innings. Christian Yelich, Michael Morse will follow Ozuna. Here in the second, the Marlins will try to dig their way out of this 5-run hole. And they have to do it against a very hot pitcher in Miller.
Yeah, a guy second in the league in ERA at 1.60. Not an easy assignment, but you know what? There's a lot of time.
Three and 1 to Marcell Ozuna. 3 hits in the series. Fouls off the fastball. It's 3-2. Yelich to follow.
Marcell Ozuna 2 for 9 in his career against Miller.
And this is eerily similar to yesterday's ball game when the Braves scored 5 runs in the second as well and had a 5-0 lead. Ozuna walks, and a reminder that the Fan Express is back. It'll bring you right to the ballpark. Book this luxury motor coach or your group, 305-480-2523. Or email groups@marlins.com. It's a great way to come to the ballpark. You can start your celebrating or your festivities early on your way in and have a safe ride home. Now Yelich takes a strike and it's 0-1. And the Braves' second inning this series. In 3 second innings, 12 runs and 14 hits.
Wow. Now the Marlins have to be careful. There are little things, but a couple of things that happened yesterday that shouldn't happen when you're trailing. Marlins had a couple of runners picked off. Actually, it's the first time since 1997 the Marlins had 2 runners picked off in a game.
Got him. Fastball. Rode it up. And got it by Yelich.
That's when he goes away from the 2-seamer and goes with that 4-seamer up in the zone.
He didn't really, start throwing that 2-seamer, Tommy, until August of last year.
Yeah, and that has really helped him. There's a scouting report on the 24-year-old, which is even amazing. He's still just 24. Real easy arm action. We've talked about 2- and 4-seamers. Normally, he goes right after hitters. First round pick of the Cardinals back in 2009.
Michael Morse takes a strike. Morse 0 for 4 in the series. Jeff Baker got the start yesterday and had 2 hits at first base against the lefty Alex Wood. And for Brave fans, Miller, the principal piece in the Jason Hayward trade. Hayward, a pretty popular player in Atlanta. But the Braves like what they saw in August and September once he started throwing the 2-seamer, and he hasn't stopped since. You go back to his last 14, 15 starts. Arguably, he's been one of the best pitchers in the game.
Yeah, he's I believe last 15 starts he's 6-1 with an ERA below 2. And quite a piece for the Braves to get in that deal. Obviously, they traded away Jason Hayward, an everyday right fielder. But to get a 21 or 24-year-old right-hander who throws the way he does, it's worked out well.
2-1 pitch. Morse pulls a ground ball to third. Goslin starts it. Peterson turns it. And the Braves get 2. And the Marlins are done in the second. Shelby Miller is sharp, and the Marlins are down 5-0 again.
comentado en español vía SAP por West Kendall Toyota.
In Miami, there was some rain this morning, and it's hot and humid, so the roof is shut, rolling windows tight, AC's on. Henderson Alvarez looked good in the first, not so much in the second. Gave up 5 runs on 6 hits in the second inning. Todd Cunningham stands in. The story of Todd Cunningham gets even better as this series goes along, numbers wise. He's 7 for 9 in this series. Cunningham is 26, out of Jacksonville, Alabama. He went to high school in Jacksonville, Alabama. He went to college in Jacksonville, Alabama at Jacksonville State. And a pop-up, Morse in. Morse makes the catch.
I think important for a few reasons for Henderson Alvarez to get it back and regroup after the 5-run second inning. Number one, just to give him some assurance and confidence as he moves forward. Think about it, it's only his 3rd start of the season. So I think he needs that. And secondly, he needs to take the game a little deeper. So have some low pitch innings so he can go a little deeper into the game.
A.J. Pierzynski. RBI double back in the second. Pierzynski long has had a reputation of getting under everybody's skin. Opponents, some teammates, but he's one of those guys you hear, if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, you don't. He really has helped this Atlanta Brave team in a lot of ways, on the field especially, with some key hits, being able to catch. And then in the clubhouse, it's a young team, and so the guys like Pierzynski and Gomes and Markakis really are leaned on as leaders.
Yep, Pierzynski out of Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando, and postseason experience on his side as well.
There's Siriaco, and he takes a strike. Obviously it's Sunday, so lots of baseball around the National and American League. Full schedules. There's the eephus. First time we've seen that slow curveball, 59 miles an hour.
And some late games last night. Nationals beating the Padres. Max Scherzer, another terrific outing.
To center, Ozuna makes the catch, and Alvarez bounces back. A 9-pitch first, 5 runs in the second, and a 9-pitch third. 3rd. Half Price Tuesday with the Miami Herald is coming up. The Marlins and the Diamondbacks this Tuesday. Get the Half Price Legends Platinum tickets or great discounts on tickets in several other categories. Just go to Marlins.com. Marlins and Diamondbacks, and yes, as you see, Jared Cozart on that Tuesday. Jared Cozart will make the start. The hamstring issue was merely a cramp, and Cozart is good to go after a bullpen session yesterday. Here's Danny Echeverria. He continues to swing a hot bat. Fouls that one at the plate. He's behind the count 0-2.
There's Jared Cozart. Yeah, the Diamondbacks up in Philadelphia right now. Cozart against former Ray, Jeremy Hellickson.
Pulled hard, diving stop, Goslin on his feet, and that's quite a play by Phil Goslin, robbing Echeverria of a hit.
You know, over the years, we grew used to watching Chipper Jones make this play. Phil Goslin, no Chipper Jones, but I tell you what, he's had a good series and he made a nice play right there. He's one of those guys you talk to Braves personnel and they'll say he's a hard-nosed ball player. He just knows how to play the game the right way.
And versatile. He can play third, he can play second. A strike to Jonathan Solano. And he's getting a chance to play every day with Chris Johnson on the disabled list with a broken hand. Solano up the middle. Peterson flips to first. And there are 2 outs. Here comes Alvarez. Hottest team in the National League. Tommy, you pointed out the Cubs have won 6 in a row. Second longest win streak in the National League. Who do you think it is? I would never have guessed that the Philadelphia Phillies have won 4 in a row.
You know, the team I was going to say San Francisco. Seems like they've gotten it together. They beat Cincinnati 11-2 last night, and they have Hunter Pence back.
And Hunter Pence made a big impact last night.
That's not as big as Brandon Crawford, though.
No, he hit a grand slam. He did. Alvarez, little chopper out towards short. Siriaco, and Alvarez beats it. How about that? Anderson Alvarez hustling down the line. Now the Braves are probably going to watch this on video and see if they want to challenge it. Here's our first look. Back of the glove. That's close. Here's a better view. Foot back.
Hey,
it's almost simultaneous.
Yeah, it is.
Here's the, talking to Pat Shine today, the Marlins coach who is in the video room and watches the replays. And Freddie Gonzalez is going to challenge this. Here's the decision you have to make early in the game, and that is, if it's one thing to think, I think he was safe. You have to clearly know that the call was wrong.
Early in the game, especially.
Early in the game, because you lose that challenge, and it's gone.
I think he's safe.
Back.
I think his heel is on before it gets to the back of the glove.
And again, as you look at this replay, you have to ask yourself, I mean, if you're the Braves, you see this, you say, you know what, he could be out. You have to ask yourself, will the umpires in New York have enough evidence to overturn this call? Is it clearly, is he clearly out?
Not on. See, it looked from that other angle like the heel touched the bag, but actually it's the toe that touches the bag first.
And that's one thing you can do, is the umpires in New York can do, is sort of a baseball forensics. They can look at one view and see where the foot is and where the ball is, and then that reverse angle shows which part of the foot struck the bag first.
Now, it didn't matter for the Braves or for Freddie Gonzalez, but Freddie got burned the other night early in the game, making a challenge and not having it overturned.
Dale Scott is the crew chief there.
That's the way that the headphones, the little box like that, it's kind of the way you and I travel when we sit together on the team charters. We have you know, the headphones going, maybe a movie.
We tried to actually get in contact with the umpires in New York with that device, but it didn't work on the plane. And this one's taking a while, which means, you know, there's some doubt. And obviously they have Marlins television, Braves television, and there are a few cameras in-house that Major League Baseball has that we don't have access to.
Also, let me say this, there aren't many pitchers, very few, probably count them on one hand if that even make that play as close as Alvarez did, getting up the line.
There are 2 outs. That's side by side, and that's synced up in terms of time.
So you could still see the ball in that one shot because it hasn't quite reached the back of Freddie Freeman's glove.
C.B. Buckner, the other umpire, on the right, Dale Scott on the left.
But for a play that's not a monumental play as far as a run scoring or anything like that, it's taken a long time.
He's out. So the Braves win this challenge. Enough evidence in New York to overturn. Alvarez is out. And Shelby Miller has yet to give up a hit now in the first 3, and it's 5-0 Atlanta. Kids cage out in center field. Scott Bride telecast presented by the authority. The Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. And I think since we showed the kids in the cage, they have to sign off on it as well. Been a weird start for Henderson Alvarez. 9 pitches, 3 outs in the first. 9 pitches, 3 outs in the third. 30 pitches, 5 runs and 6 hits in the second.
Last inning, that third inning, he changed speeds a lot more. A few more changeups, a few more breaking balls. So he made an adjustment.
Diamondbacks tomorrow night. The Diamondbacks have dropped 3 in a row. They are 5 under right now.
That's because they've been playing those hot Phillies that you were talking about.
Dan Herron, Ruby De La Rosa. Prado gets a speedy Maven. Tell you what, Michael Moore's been very good around the bag this year, and a pick like that he has made with regularity and frequency.
I can't remember any, if maybe only one or two, that he's not been able to pick. So good job there. And again, notice the breaking ball to Maven. There's the soft-handed pick. And nice job on the other end. And an applaud from Henderson Alvarez. Again, the slow breaking ball. So he's mixed things up. A few more of those the last couple of innings.
Shelby Miller fouls it back. Of course, the Nationals have been hot lately. They've won 8 of their last 10. Half game behind the Mets. The Mets have Noah Syndergaard out there again. And after scoring a ton of runs yesterday, have a 2-0 lead in the 4th against Milwaukee, and that game is in New York.
Syndergaard trying to pick up his first major league win.
Nationals finish off their weekend series in San Diego. Homecoming for Steven Strasburg gets to start in San Diego.
We talked about grand slams. Brandon Crawford, Jace Peterson here. Wilmer Flores hit one for the Mets last night. And how about Jacob deGrom, the winning pitcher, but he also went 3 for 3.
That would be strike 3 called. Down goes Miller. Up comes Chase Peterson. Now the Coors Banquet timeless moment. 14th player in Braves history to hit a grand slam as his first major league home run. In case you missed it, this was Peterson against Matt Latos, and that is his first big league homer, the grand slam. Two-run single for Peterson. That was back in the second. Line to center. Strike, and it's 2-1.
I think the perfect example here is that at this level, you just can't rely on that all fastballs and changeups. And with the adjustment that Henderson has made, which he had to after that second inning, he's done a nice job with it.
Pitches in, and Peterson is aboard. The Padres had Peterson, and he came over in the Justin Upton trade. So far, he's been impressive in a month and a half in the big leagues.
You know, they love his style of play. You know, the other thing about Henderson Alvarez, it's always going to be a little concern. It's been 3 years in a row. The last couple of weeks of last year, at the beginning of 2013, Alvarez had shoulder issues, which he also just came off the disabled list with here in 2015.
This is Andrelton Simmons, and you wonder if Phil Gosselin hurt himself on that diving play in the bottom of the third. Remember, Gosselin went to his right and kind of landed on the glove with the ball in it. You saw the wrist bend. This was supposed to be a day off.
Yeah, Simmons thought he was going to get the day off. He'll go back to short. Siriaco will go over to third.
Whoa, fastball up in, and Solano plays it on the carom. Peterson was hustling down to second. That's a wild pitch.
Yeah, his fastball just gets away get kind of blindsided as a catcher. Got the hands of Simmons up there. Got to come out of that crouch. So a tough play for Jonathan Solano.
Simmons lifts it in the air. Ozuna is over and there and makes the catch. Braves did all their damage in the second. It's holding up 5-0. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealer today. By Checkers, get Checkers authentic Phillies cheesesteak. Try the new meatball sub. Pick yours. And by Subaru of Pembroke Pines, price service selection. You are going to love us. As expected, Andrelton Simmons is now at short. And that pushes Pedro Siriaco over to third. And we'll try to get you any word we have on Phil Goslin. In the meanwhile, it's the second go-round for Miami against Shelby Miller. And Miller dominated the first pitches in to D. Gordon. He struck out just one, but he faced the minimum. Walked one, got a double play ball to end the second. And so Gordon, Prado, and Stanton top of the order here in the fourth.
Right now the job is, okay, you got to try to peck away, get some base runners, put a little pressure on the right-hander, Shelby Miller. But you look at his last 3 starts, Miller's gone 7 innings in each of those 3 and given up a total of 3 earned runs.
Lil Tapper, and Gordon races by, and is he out? That was close. Freddie Freeman at first was looking down and searching for the bag, and we'll take a look and see if he indeed got there. The throw did beat him. Watch the foot. Oh, wow, that's close. Did Freeman get it?
Not sure if he got the corner.
Let's see if we can see on this angle.
I don't know if he got the corner of the bag.
That's really hard. His foot beats Gordon's foot, and I would think you'd have a really tough time overturning that in New York. So still no hits for Miami. Remember, Alvarez beat out a chopper only to have that call overturned. That finished the third.
Been a couple of close plays over there at first base.
And Prado sends a ground ball out to second. He's bounced out there twice now. Shelby Miller with that 2-seamer starting to get a lot of ground ball outs. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready for Marlins Live tomorrow. Slugger comparison. Paul Goldschmidt will be in the house. Should be a fun matchup. for a 4-game series. Ruby De La Rosa against Dan Herron.
See a little power with Goldschmidt, Martin Trumbo, Giancarlo in the lineup.
But Miller has dotted the outside part with a couple fastballs. Here's Dan Herron. Of course, the Diamondbacks, the team he pitched and pitched very well for. Stanton strikes out on a 97-mile-an-hour heater. 5-0 lead. Shelby Miller just challenging people right now. Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. AYSO.org/play. Go there now and find your region and sign up for your fall team today. AYSO.org. Women's World Cup is coming up. Fox Sports 1 will be all over that. There's Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, and Todd Cunningham. Henderson Alvarez making his return off the disabled list after a month away. And everything has looked good except the second inning. That's a big blip on the radar. 30 pitches, 5 runs, and 6 hits. He hasn't given up a hit outside of that inning.
You know, and that kind of goes against his ERA here in this ballpark. 25 starts at Marlins Park, and the ERA for Henderson Alvarez 2.59.
Roller to second. Gordon whips it to first in time. In Cincinnati, quick rain delay is up, and the Giants are scoring a lot again. 4-0. That's in the bottom of the second. Paul Goldschmidt. Tommy talked about the 2 sluggers. You see what Goldschmidt has accomplished so far this year. 6:30 for Marlins Live. Here's Markakis.
I think you and I have talked about it. We did early in the year when Alvarez was in the rotation, but what he meant to the club last year when Jose Fernandez went down and went on the disabled list. He took over and he took charge.
It's always so difficult to replace an ace, right? You hear teams that lose an ace. Echeverria backhands, plants. Very nice play by Miami shortstop. It's one thing to say, yeah, you're going to just slide everybody up in the rotation. But Alvarez certainly pitched like an ace.
Boy, Echeverria stayed on that ball. See how his eyes stayed right on it as he came up, a little higher hop than he may have initially thought. There it comes. He goes up with it, plants, and you have time because Markakis just an average runner. So we had time to get him at first base. Yeah, in June last year, Henderson Alvarez went 3-0 with a 1.05 ERA. So he really stepped up.
Jose's surgery was mid-May last year, with the target being mid to late June for his return. If Jose had his druthers, he would have broken camp with the Marlins and pitched in April. But the Marlins have been very cautious, following all the timelines and procedures. Todd Cunningham has another hit. That's not breaking news anymore. He got his first major league start on Friday, and since then all he's done is gone 8 for 11. Look at Michael Morse. He says, I'm getting tired of seeing you.
They're on a
it's not that easy, kid.
They're on a real friendly basis now. He's been down there so much.
It's not that
the only
easy.
time the Marlins got him out was in the third inning today. He popped up.
Here's Pierzynski with 2 outs. Pierzynski drilled one down the third base line for an RBI double. That essentially kept everything rolling as the Braves had a rather big inning. They had a 5-run second yesterday and a 5-run second here today.
38-year-old catcher, A.J. Pierzynski.
Pierzynski, part of that World Championship team for the White Sox back in 2005. He's been in 5 postseasons. Pulls one on the ground. Morse has it. It's a foul ball.
Yeah, Pierzynski had a big year in 2012 with the White Sox. 27 home runs.
Mike Redmond is coming out.
If anybody has a great sightline of that ball that Mike Redmond thought was fair, it's Mike Redmond because of where he is over in the Marlins dugout.
It's really tough for us to tell on this shot, but remember, this is not a reviewable play.
It's like a fair ball.
Morse was well inside the line, but it's where the ball is when he catches it. Prado, there's nobody at second, and so he throws to first. Gordon was playing over towards first. Prado almost threw it to no one. Big sigh of relief. It's 5-0.
Boy, this is a hot spot today on a Sunday afternoon. For the Marlins, good riddance to the NL East. They started poorly, 2-9 against the NL East. Been better of late, even with the 2 losses here. And losing today, they've won 10 of the last 16. But going forward now, believe it or not, all the way through the All-Star break, the Marlins have only 3 games out of 51 against the National League East. That'll be against the Mets in late May, those 3 games up in New York. And that's it. 48 of the 51 outside the division, with so far about 3/4 of the games they've played have been all against the NL East. And I think the Marlins will look forward to it. We will too. See some other teams before we renew acquaintances with the NL East in just a bit. How about these Braves guys? They've had the Marlins number this year, especially in this park.
Well, and you were talking about the entire National League East. 0-2 pitches out. The Braves are the only team in the National League East that have a winning record in this ballpark since it opened. And Ozuna is done quickly against Miller here in the 5th. Atlanta's 24-9 at Marlins Park since 2012.
Yeah, and it's substantially over 500 at 24-9 mark.
They've won 9 of their last 11. Everybody else in the East is below 500 here. And right now, Shelby Miller is dealing. He has no hit stuff.
The only base runner was a leadoff walk to Ozuna back in the 2nd inning.
Christian Yelich struck out back in the 2nd. Phil Gosselin sprained left thumb.
As you expected.
Well, not the, I didn't expect the thumb, but a hand injury on the dive.
Well, you didn't speculate.
No, I did not. Yelich gets a 2-1 pitch here. And a bouncer out towards short. Simmons gets Yelich.
Rich, in my opinion, there are 2 guys, the Marlins offensively, and it's not to put it just on 2 guys. Everybody else has to contribute. But there are 2 key guys that the Marlins need to get going: Christian Yelich and Michael Morse.
Morse bounced into a double play back in the 2nd. And Miller misses in. Shelby Miller threw 4 no-hitters in high school. Brownwood, Texas.
He was recruited by Texas A&M, but elected as a first-round pick to sign with the Cardinals.
The 2-seamer's usually 92, 93, and the 4-seamer with some rise to it about 97. Houston, Texas. A lot of baseball talent in Houston, that Houston area. And he strikes out Morse with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. 5 innings, and Shelby Miller has not given up a hit. And that one was right on the black. Game goes to the 6th. Next Sunday, a fun day. Orioles, Marlins, 1:10 start. Pick up the Pepsi 4 for $74 pack. Get 4 tickets, 4 KMB Franks, 4 Pepsi, $74. Kids also get a Marlins batting practice pullover. Look at the batting practice pullover, Hut. Looks sweet. You can run the bases in the Diamond Dash.
So you could wear the batting practice pullover when you stand next to the Giancarlo growth chart.
That is by Prado. Siriaco around first. Yelich has it. And Pedro Siriaco slides in with a leadoff double for Atlanta in the 6th.
Got that breaking ball up. But just to go back since that second inning, we've seen a lot more breaking balls from Henderson Alvarez, which is a good thing because of the way the Braves attacked this fastball in the second.
Cameron Maybin now has walked, has a stolen base, scored a run, and bounced to third, and he rifles one over the head of Prado into left. Siriaco will score. Maybin has his 5th hit of the series.
Cameron Maybin, Rich, came into the game. Of course, he had that one incredible series against the Marlins at Pro Player Stadium. But he came into the game over 350 in his career against the Marlins. Two-seamer down and in. He drops the head of the bat on it and stings that one into left field. Now you have to be careful. Remember how easily he stole a bag in the second inning.
Jonathan Solano out to talk to Alvarez. I suspect it's to allow Brad Hand a few more tosses in the Marlins bullpen. Hand is trying to get loose as fast as he can. And now you got Shelby Miller up here with the possibility, very real possibility of a bunt. He squares. Alvarez delivers. Miller's bunt is good. Alvarez looked at second, goes to first. He took a good long look at second too. It was almost like I see it, and then he wanted to see it a second time just to make sure.
Well, I see it, but I also see Cameron Maybin's a runner, and at this point you certainly don't want to take a chance. Good job by Miller.
Back to the top of the order, Chase Peterson and then Andrelton Simmons, and Mike Redmond is going to make a change. In a double switch, Justin Bohr is coming in at first base, and Brad Hand in to face the lefty Chase Peterson. So the return of Henderson Alvarez, he gives up 6 runs and a Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Brad Hand out of the bullpen. And the Atlanta Braves right now are poised for a 3-game sweep in Miami, which amazingly would be the second time they've done it this year.
Well, you think about it, you were given numbers. Craig was talking about the games coming up, not against the National League East, a 4-game sweep in New York to the Mets. And if the Marlins don't come back from this one, they will have been swept in 2 3-game series here by the Braves.
You saw Justin Bour. He's now at first. Bour will go into the pitcher spot. He'll hit 9th in the order. And Brad Hand resides in Michael Morse's spot, which was 6th. Maben in scoring position. Obviously plenty of speed there. Jace Peterson, 2-run single in the second, line to center in the first. He's driven in 6 runs in this series from his leadoff spot.
Brad Hand pitched a nice 9th inning Friday night against this Braves ball club. At least we know the score in this one won't be the identical 5-3 score in the first 2 games of this series.
Count full, 3-2. 1 out. Maben at second. Gordon has it. AT&T rewind. This day in baseball history, go back to 1970. Hammer and Hank. That is career base hit number 3,000. Even Woody Woodward playing second base couldn't get that.
You know, for a second I thought Woody was going to make a play there, but Hank Aaron picked up hit number 3,000.
AT&T Rewind brought to you by AT&T Uverse. More live TV channels on the go than cable.
I don't think they were shifting the hammer then.
Where would you shift the hammer? I mean,
he later in his career, he would pull more balls on the ground. In the outfield, you'd probably play him straight up.
Alvarez 5 1/3, giving way to Hand here. Simmons came in for Goslin, who sprained his thumb. Second at bat for Simmons. It's funny, you whenever there's a Henry Aaron clip, it's always of that historic home run, right, off Al Downing
in Atlanta.
There's the new home run king and all that. So to see that footage, I'd never seen that. His 3,000th hit.
Henry Aaron could run, could play the outfield. I think was overshadowed. Not that, I mean, you could say this. Willie Mays was a better player, maybe. Who knows? Henry Aaron certainly out-homered him, but Willie Mays had more of a flair. Henry Aaron just went about his business, played the game with ease.
That's what they said. He made the really difficult look easy. Of course, you got to give Woody Woodward credit in that video clip. He did have to make that play on the shortstop side of the bag. And I think he had a base hit in the game, too. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Andrelton Simmons. Marlins in a 6-0 hole, and they don't have a hit yet. Photo finish. Oh, wow. Look, Billy got knocked out. Watch Billy get a crab right in the face. That's not what you want on a Sunday afternoon. Marlins looking for their first hit, down 6-0 to the Atlanta Braves. Shelby Miller has been outstanding, as he has been all year for Atlanta.
Like Billy was trying to draw the offensive foul there, too. Not sure.
Not a reviewable play. Here's the 0-1. Up and in. Echeverria, Jonathan Solano, Justin Bour.
Probably, Rich, the two closest opportunities for base hits. Echeverria's ball in the third inning. Nice play by Goslin at third, but it appeared that was the play that he injured his thumb. And then the bang play at first base, the reviewable play with the Henderson outfield.
4 strikeouts, a walk in his 5 innings of work, and he's only thrown 54 pitches. Markakis towards the line and there and makes the catch. T-Mobile game changer. Danny Echeverria, first 37 games. We focus certainly on D. Gordon and his 62 hits. But look at Echeverria and his improvement. 15 multi-hit games. Echeverria came into the ballgame and on base at .345 and a slugging percentage at .435.
Yeah, you're right about focusing on D. Gordon, and rightfully so. But Echeverria has been pretty steady all year as well, not to mention the defense he provides too. So good to see Etch, who got off to a little bit of a slow start offensively. Good to see him just stay consistent.
Solano getting the start. He's 0 for 1. Miller has walked a man, but he's faced the minimum. That was Marcell Ozuna in the second, erased on Michael Morse's inning-ending double play.
Remember, just a couple of years ago, Shelby Miller with the Cardinals was a 15-game winner, 15-9 for St. Louis. Been very durable. He's never been on the disabled list. You can say that about too many pitchers nowadays.
Breaking ball to right. Markakis backs up. And so 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Miami still without a hit. Shelby Miller gets Justin Bour, who came in the double switch.
Well, you make that move. Sometimes people ask in a National League game why you make that move. A lot of times it's to try to get as much out of that relief pitcher you bring in. In this case, it's Brad Hand. If you didn't make the double switch, Hand would be hitting here. You'd have to get him out of the game, a pinch hit. This way you can maybe get a couple more innings.
Oh, and 2 quickly. He's getting ahead of guys right from the jump. Bour hits a pop-up. Simmons is out there. Shelby Miller here in Miami has 6 no-hit innings to his credit. And the Braves have a 6-0 lead. And Atlanta has a 6-0 lead here in Miami. Chevron Crazy 8 Wednesdays. And the next one is this Wednesday. Marlins Diamondbacks at 7:10. Bring your Chevron receipt of 8 gallons of gas or more to the Marlins Park ticket office. Get your choice of an $18 Lexus Legends level ticket or a $28 home plate box seat. Freddie Freeman against Brad Hand. Today was the return of Henderson Alvarez from the disabled list, and the Braves jumped him in the 2nd for 5 runs. Alvarez would give up another run in the 6th. Hand would come in and get 2 outs to finish the 6th. Hot smash. That's Bour. And he steps on the bag. 1 out. Brad Hand looks sharp. He looked sharp in his last outing. Came in, pitched a scoreless inning on Friday night.
You know, there's no question Brad Hand has the kind of stuff that consistently can get big league hitters. But when he wavers from getting ahead and struggles in the strike zone, then he has problems out there. But when he throws strikes and gets ahead, very good.
There's Markakis. Bohr gets another one. Hand is there. Nicely done. Two outs. Here comes Todd Cunningham. Mets have increased their lead over Milwaukee 5-0. It's not a no-hitter, but Noah Syndergaard is shutting down Milwaukee on just 2 hits. The Phillies are trying to win their 5th in a row, and they have a 2-0 lead over the Diamondbacks. Of course, the Diamondbacks are here tomorrow. Cunningham has had the blistering start to his year with the Braves. Been in the organization since he was drafted in 2010. But his first 3 major league starts have resulted in 8 hits. Sends that one into shallow left, and Echeverria camps under it and makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning. Graham Hand has retired all 5 he's faced. Shelby Miller back to the mound with a no-hitter in the 7th. H. Gregg, high-def highlights.
Yeah, it seemed like all the action, most of it anyway, came in that 2nd inning for the Braves. Pierzynski with a double. He picked up a couple of runs. A sacrifice fly off the bat of Pedro Siriaco added more onto that Braves number in the 2nd inning. And then a base hit by Peterson. They've been getting a lot of base hits. Freddie Freeman got a base hit. 5 runs, 6 hits in that 2nd inning. There's the base hit by Freeman. Braves added 1 more in the 6th. That's been the story offensively. Pitching wise for the Atlanta Braves, Shelby Miller has gone 6 innings. You saw the line with the strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. He has not allowed a base hit. I was looking back a couple of years ago in 2013. Shelby Miller had a start against the Colorado Rockies when he was pitching for the Cardinals. It was a game in St. Louis. Eric Young Jr. led that game off for the Rockies with a single. Miller would go on and pitch a 9-inning, 1-hit shutout.
Here's as close as Miami has come. That was originally ruled a hit, but upon replay, Anderson Alvarez was out. And then remember the diving catch, or this is the play at first. D. Gordon was out by a step. Freddie Freeman had his foot on the corner of the bag. And then remember the Goslin play, the diving catch that Goslin robbed a hit from Adeiny Echeverria. That's as close as Miami's had. All three of those plays on the infield, though, not in the outfield. No diving, sliding catches in the outfield. Here's D. Gordon.
There haven't been many balls squared up. And you know D. Gordon will think about bunting, but Siriaco, who's moved over from third, remember he started the game at short, he's going to be coming in, and he's thinking about it too.
So Gordon's up. He's popped out and bounced out. And he bounces to second. On to first in time. Shelby Miller has an out here in the 7th inning. You know, in this day and age with advanced metrics, batting average, balls in play, fielding independent pitching, a lot of it talks about the odds of, you know, putting the ball in play and a pitcher not being able to play defense behind him. Well, I think this is a great example here in watching Miller that all contact is not created equal. You look at Miami's swings in this ballgame and the contact that they've made. They really have not, as you pointed out, barreled many balls up. And Miller has struck out just 4.
Well, 10 outs have been recorded on the ground. And you're right, not a lot of fly ball outs. Been a couple pop flies. There has not been a fly ball out. Just, oh, excuse me, 2 fly balls to right field in the 6th inning. That's it.
And the 1 walk was erased on a double play ball, so he's faced the minimum.
That's why the pitch count is still at just 67.
It's amazing. Little tapper. Siriaco rushes in, has it, flips to first in time. And Shelby Miller has the first 2 outs on the ground. And here comes Stanton with 2 outs in the 7th. Here's all your zeros. Marlins box score. Shelby Miller here in Miami. 6 2/3, no hit innings. And here is Stanton, who has popped up and struck out. Home runs in 3 consecutive games at Marlins Park. Ooh, wow, that really felt an awful lot like Milwaukee, didn't it? That swing as he was trying to get out of the way of a fastball.
That's a swing we've seen Stanton stay away from the last couple of weeks. He's been able to identify that, get out of the way, started the swing there, and you're right about Milwaukee. And remember, we talked about this early in the game. Stanton has the 4 longest home runs in this ballpark. One of them came off Shelby Miller last August, 470 feet.
Stanton fouls it back. Now, one of the things that turned Shelby Miller into this over his last 15 starts was learning that 2-seamer in August of last year in St. Louis. But against Stanton, he's featured the 4-seamer up, which is usually upper 90s. 1-2. Marcell Ozuna is on deck. 2 outs. Bottom 7, 6-0 Atlanta. Stanton drives it left field and deep, and it's caught at the wall. Cunningham runs it down. The best shot the Marlins have had all day for a hit. Dies on the warning track in deep left center. And Shelby Miller, through 7, is no-hitting the Marlins still. 2-foot laser to left center, caught by Todd Cunningham. Look how far in the gap Cunningham was playing, and that's where the Braves have been most of the series. Cunningham doesn't play over towards the line much, and he's made 2 or 3 plays in that gap. So Brad Hand back to work in the 8th. If you want to project it out, as Brzezinski fouls it off, if Miller stays on his pace, he doesn't have to deal with Stanton again. He's faced the minimum, and in the 8th he'll have Ozuna, Yelich, and Morse. Gordon has it. If he gets through that trio, then he's got the bottom of the order in the 9th. I know we're a long ways away, but certainly you can look ahead. And that's the benefit of his control, having walked just one and had that one erased on a double play ground ball. Not many guys are chatting him up in the dugout.
They're avoiding Shelby Miller. He's not the conversationalist right now. In the meantime, nice job by Brad Hand since coming into the ball game.
Ball and a strike. Siriaco was supposed to give Andrelton Simmons the day off. Simmons came in when Goslin hurt his thumb. Siriaco went from short to third. He's doubled and lined out. And Brad Hand continues to look good. I told you he looked good on Friday night. Miller in the hole right now, about to emerge on deck. One and two. Even managers know the protocol, so to speak.
Yeah, Freddie's not going to go up to Miller and say, how you feeling?
Center field, that's hit a long ways. Ozuna's got room, and he makes the catch. Here comes Maven with 2 outs. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. It's 13 years old. Every out-of-market regular season game is live or on demand in true HD. All kinds of stuff. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.com for details. Now Maben, who's walked and has an RBI single. Shelby Miller on deck. I don't know if it's a sign, just coincidence, but remember the last time the Marlins were no hit was in Washington. Jordan Zimmerman, the starting pitcher, Henderson Alvarez. And of course, Alvarez threw the no-hitter on the last day of 2013.
There was also a pretty good play in left field.
Yeah, Steven Souza Jr. This is Stanton. He makes the catch. And Atlanta's done in the 8th. But Shelby Miller's not done yet. 7 no-hit innings. He goes out for the bottom of the 8th next. Braves coming off the offseason trade from the St. Louis Cardinals. Made an adjustment in August of last year. He started throwing a two-seamer, and a guy who was headstrong, some would say stubborn, all of a sudden found it. And here in mid-May, he's flirting with a no-hitter. Ozuna lifts it to right. Markakis is over and makes the catch. One out in the bottom of the 8th, and no hits for the Fish. And of course, last year, last game of the regular season, Jordan Zimmermann, it was a very different type of start. He had struck out 10, and he needed that to nail down the no-hitter, Steven Souza Jr. Here in this one, Shelby Miller struck out just 4. Zimmermann struck out 10. And here's the guy at the plate who nearly dashed the no-hitter. Everyone felt Christian Yelich had extra bases except Steven Souza Jr.
The other thing, too, Rich, the last few years for Shelby Miller, he's had a nice mentor in Adam Wainwright.
Ichiro is on deck. That's the pitcher spot for Miami. One-two. Yelich, a little pop towards the line. Cunningham is there, and he makes the catch. And Miller has 2 quick outs here in the 8th. Pitch count's not an issue.
It's amazing.
He's at 77.
And the other thing that's interesting, when he got the second out in the 7th inning, it was his 12th ground ball out. And all of a sudden, from Stan Ozuna to Yelich, 3 balls in the air for outs.
Well, here's Ichiro. Ichiro got the start yesterday, was 1 for 4. Had a pinch hit in the 6th on Friday night.
And unless you're an avid Braves fan, you could not tell me who threw the last no-hitter in Braves history.
Ichiro, soft ground ball, going to be a close play, and Simmons makes it. Shelby Miller is 3 outs away from the no-hitter. 6-0 Atlanta. To the 9th we go. Is at the bottom line there. No runs, no hits for the Marlins through 8. The last Atlanta Braves no-hitter brought to you by Geico, the Geico moment. Kent Mercker back in '94 against the Dodgers. Miller has to lead off here in the 9th inning. A.J. Ramos out of the bullpen. Ramos trying to stay sharp has not worked since saving a ball game on Wednesday in Los Angeles. You get Miller, Peterson, and Simmons. The Marlins will have the bottom third of their order up in the ninth. Echeverria, Solano, and Bohr. That would be Jonathan Solano, but you could see a pinch hitter in that spot as well.
Nice comforting feeling for Shelby Miller with A.J. Pierzynski.
Stanton is there and he makes the catch.
A.J. Pierzynski, while with the White Sox, caught Philip Umber's perfect game and Mark Burley's no-hitter. So he certainly has experience back there in that situation.
And this is, I mean, this is as close as you can get to a perfect game, right? He's walked just one, and that guy was erased on a double play, so he's faced the minimum.
So Burley's no-hitter in 07, Philip Umber's perfect game in 2012.
Now Peterson pulls it, and that's fair, and it's by the diving Bohr down into the corner. Stanton into that corner. Peterson takes a look back and settles for a double.
I think it was good the other day in LA for A.J. Ramos to pick up that save for a few reasons. He kind of got the proverbial monkey off his back. He had opportunities in the past. So to get that first major league save, he did it in Los Angeles. He had lots of friends and family at the ballpark as well.
Andrelton Simmons, couple fly ball outs. And Ramos steps off. Simmons making that nice play to get Ichiro to end the bottom of the eighth. The best ball that the Marlins have hit on the day was Giancarlo Stanton, who blasted one on a line to the wall in left center, right in front of the out-of-town scoreboard. Todd Cunningham was on the track and made the catch. Simmons shoots one, diving stop, nicely done. That's Gordon, and he gets the out. Peterson moves to third. D. Gordon.
We did not see D. Gordon, obviously, on an everyday basis last year. But the word is, and especially talking to a lot of guys out in L.A. when the Marlins were playing the Dodgers, this is another area of much improvement in D. Gordon's game. The defense he's put out there, let alone all the hitting he's done.
Due up for the Marlins, bottom third of the order. Echeverria, Jonathan Solano, and the second at bat for Justin Bohr, who came in a double switch. Five runs in the second. The Braves gave Miller an early lead, and he has certainly pitched like it. Without fear, he's pounded the zone. It's not been a big strikeout game for him. Again, he has just 4 strikeouts. But weak ground balls, some pop-ups.
Not to mention the fact that the Braves are 3 outs away from sweeping this series, too. For the second time this year, 3-game series in Miami.
Nice job by Solano. Yeah, that adds to the sting, doesn't it? The fact that Miller's 3 outs from a no-hitter. Braves sweeping the Marlins to open the season, and back here in mid-May, and 3 outs away from duplicating that. 3-2. And Freeman. God, that's called getting the barrel down on it. That's not easy to do. Hit it like that. That looks like you with a bad lie trying to get out of the rough.
You try to get it. Somehow he made good contact, pretty good contact.
Not on that one. There's a foul tip. Full count. Super slow-mo. Not so much. So a break for Freeman as he stays alive.
You know, you hear the sound of the ball hitting the dirt, skipping in the dirt.
And he swings and misses at that one. Bottom of the 9th inning in Miami. Shelby Miller is 3 outs away from a no-hitter. By your South Florida Honda dealers and by Kubota. For more information, to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. In Miami, the Braves lead 6-0. The story here, Shelby Miller is 3 outs away from the first no-hitter for the Braves since 1994. Adeiny Echeverria climbs in, first pitch swinging, fouls it back and out of play. Echeverria, Jonathan Solano, and Justin Bour are scheduled for the Marlins. Miller has faced the minimum through 8. A walk in the second to Marcell Ozuna, the only blemish on his day. Ground ball first. Freeman to the bag. And Miller is 2 outs away.
Well, I'd say one thing. He has been extremely aggressive. He's challenged the Marlins hitters. A lot of fastballs, 2-seamers, 4-seamers.
Marlins in their history have been no-hit 3 times. Freddie Gonzalez had a front row seat for one of those. Roy Halladay's perfect game back in 2010. Ramon Martinez in '95. And of course Zimmerman last year on the last day of the season for the Nationals. Jonathan Solano takes a strike. And it's 0-1. That pitch is out. A ball and a strike. Solano's 0 for 2 in the ball game. The 1-1. AJ Pierzynski along for the ride.
Yeah, and the fact that he's done it before with the perfect game of Humbers, with the no-hitter of Mark Burley's. He's done it before, so he knows how to handle a pitcher in this situation.
Solano fouls it off, and Miller has even the count at 2-2.
So Miller can feel very happy that he has the 38-year-old veteran back behind the plate.
Look at the split. 64 out of 86 pitches for strikes, and 86 pitches with 1 out in the 9th. Solano calls timeout.
And in this day and age, Rich, I've got one for you. The last no-hitter of 9 innings, fewer than 90 pitches, was David Cone against the Expos in 1999.
2-2. It's out. Pierzynski tried to bring it back. Watch the glove.
He tried, but it was outside.
3-2 coming. Solano lifts it in the air to center. Maven is there, and he makes the catch. And Shelby Miller is an out away from a no-hitter.
What a feeling for all those guys on the bench. Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, but for all the guys out defensively now. They know what's going on. They see the scoreboard. They know the whole deal.
Roger McDowell, Braves pitching coach. Here is Bohr. Justin Bohr into center field, a base hit, and the no-hitter is lost. And Bohr didn't mess around. Fastball, drilled it, no doubt about it. A clean single to center. The crowd giving Shelby Miller an ovation.
And part of that for Justin Bohr. Miller's been aggressive. The hitters have been pretty aggressive, as was Justin Bohr there. You're going to go first pitch fastball. I'm ready for it. And a clean base hit. No questions about it.
Here is D. Gordon. As soon as it left the bat, the reaction from A.J. Pierzynski was quite loud. There's the 0-1. Gordon takes up. Watch Pierzynski and Miller. So close. 2 outs. Gordon's up. And he bounces one up the middle. Simmons has it. And can't get the out at second. Bohr hustles in. D. Gordon's got a base hit.
You know, it's a small thing, but it keeps a couple of streaks alive. D. Gordon now with a 4-game hitting streak, but D. Gordon is now hit in 12 consecutive games here at Marlins Park with this infield base hit on a pitch that was up in the zone.
Give Justin Bohr credit. He really busted it to second. Simmons had no intent on throwing to first. He was trying to get it to second all the way. And somehow he did.
We've seen Echeverria make this play this year. Flip it somehow backhand to try to get the force at second base. So, as we mentioned Friday night, a couple of the game's best at shortstop in this series.
Now it's Prado who's 0 for 3. Braves bullpen kicks into gear, even though the pitch count sits at 92. Luis Avilan, Brandon Caniff. So Bohr breaks up the no-hitter. Gordon adds an infield single. And Prado sends it in the air to right. Out is Peterson, in Markakis. The game is over. The no-hitter lost, but what a day for Shelby Miller. A 2-hit shutout. The Braves sweep the Marlins for the second time at home this year. Pierzynski so close.
Second shutout for Shelby Miller in his last 3 starts. 2 starts ago, he shut out the Philadelphia Phillies on 3 hits. This guy is one of the hottest pitchers in the National League right now.
Six runs, 10 hits. for the Braves. The Marlins without a run and 2 hits, those both coming after 2 were out in the 9th inning. Atlanta sweeps Miami. Marlins Live is coming up. Shelby Miller, almost a no-hitter.